about. Now, where I think Des makes a very important point is this, is clearly the training grants are a very important aid at the moment at a time of great change. And I don't think any of us should be surprised that at a time when there is a lot of change, a lot of challenge, a lot of organisations are going through pain at the moment in terms of legal aid, it's not surprising that they are reluctant to make long-term investments. So the question collectively for us is how to get through where we are now into a much more fruitful relationship, a much longer-term relationship, in which firms and public sector organisations do want to invest. Now, we may disagree about how to do it, but I am absolutely convinced that we have to come to some kind of understanding, because
Minister, may I ask a question?
Yeah.
You said a little earlier that you had felt under pressure and there was a charge. At the moment, let me tell you what I'm doing. I'm prosecuting 8 people for a very serious crime at the Central Criminal Court. I have noticed, and I have been at the bar now for some 26 years, an atmosphere of almost total despondency in the junior legal profession. You want an answer to a problem. The answer is simple. You need to invest. If you don't do that, there won't be future young legal aid lawyers conferences to have the privilege to address you. Thank you for coming. You are going to be indicted by me now with the demise of the legal profession. There isn't going to be one that is going to be worth being a member of. I am absolutely sure when I tell you that in my chambers that our capacity to offer decent first-rate criminal pupilages is going to come to an end within the next 2 or 3 years. Some 26 years ago, I made a decision to become a barrister. I had the free benefit of one of the most able QCs in the country at the moment. I learnt at his side. I cannot any longer, on behalf of chambers, offer pupilages to people where there simply isn't a future. You, with respect, are marshalling the legal profession into a corner, a cul-de-sac. There is no return. You have to take a grip with respect. You have to seize this problem, and you have to invest in all of these young people's futures, or they will not have one. And the public is growing increasingly frustrated with what they see as a one-sided equation. You want all of the publicity for the crackdown on crime, the crackdown on terrorism, but you won't have the legal profession to defend these people, which presumably I think you still probably want. They just won't be there. Please, don't fiddle while the legal profession burns any longer.
I feel I should intervene as a sort of QC for the defence and let you answer that.
Well, I don't really think that an increase from 1.5 billion to 2 billion for legal aid is... I don't see how that is an indication of a government that suddenly made a vicious attack on legal aid.
Minister, you know the cost drivers were not taken into consideration. Be honest about that. We know the cost drivers were lawyers.
How about defending it properly?
Yeah. I'm not hearing anybody talking about the very, very high sums that one small handful of QCs can secure courtesy of legal aid.
All of those very high cost cases, the plans for which this 1% of cases cost 50% of the budget, all of those high cost cases plans were approved by the Legal Services Committee. And it was.
I mean,
well, no, hang on. Don't you think you should have actually thought, why is this costing so much?
Yeah,
and what's happened is that, yes, those people have gobbled up that part of the budget. Yeah. And the rest of us, the ordinary client has been left in the situation they're in, trying to find somebody to represent them.
So you would like to see those very high fees modified?
Yeah.
Yes.
Both prosecution and defence, because If you
Yes,
reduce the amount paid to defence lawyers, are you reducing the amount paid to the prosecution? How much does the government...
We're getting onto very dangerous territory here, you know, the Old Bailey or wherever it is, actually it's down in Woolwich probably in this case. But I mean, you know, there are some very, very large fees being secured.
The government should...
And what are the very large fees being paid to the prosecution in those cases?
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Are they
suggesting on
less?
both sides. Well, I think at that rather interesting impasse, I mean, there seems to be a will in the entire room to lower the fees of the big boys and girls.
Can I say something?
By all means.
I think that it's very important that we should keep in mind that we're talking here about low legal aid fees and legal aid practitioners unable to survive because the fees are inadequate, when at the same time the government is spending very large amounts of money paying fees to lawyers for all sorts of other activities. And not only the government, big corporations, not only in civil matters, prosecutions have unlimited resources, and it's because of those unlimited resources and because of the way that they're used against those who are the clients of legal aid firms that legal aid fees go up. I mean, it's very clear that if you have on one side low fees and low resources, and on the other side unlimited fees, you are not going to get justice. Justice demands equality. Government should not pay unlimited fees to prosecution lawyers, to those involved in privatisation, the big city firms. Their fees are vastly greater than are paid to legal aid. So there is discrimination within the system. And if the government can't afford to run legal aid on 2 billion, then some of that extra money should be taken from the fees that are paid out to other firms for other sorts of work.
I would agree 100%. Just one small example. When the bank in America, Bear Stearns, had its liquidity crisis, it took one day to sort it out. It took this government something like 4.5 months to sort out Northern Rock. I got a question down as to what it paid out in legal fees. I haven't yet had an answer, but I think the figure is going to be somewhere north of 40 million quid.
Yeah.